second episode of my new video podcast series, Fiction Writing with author Heena. Today, I'll be talking about first drafts. First draft is one of the most basic entities of fiction writing and it lays the basic foundation of any novel. In this podcast, I'll tell you what actually is a first draft, how to write it, its importance, and what to and what not to expect from it. So, let's begin. If you are a writer, then you probably might have come across this term more than 1,000 times already. And if not, then you've come to the right place. Just for the sake of it, I'll start this podcast with a definition. Question number one. What is a first draft? A first draft is the first thing you write about a project, a book, a blog post, or even an idea in general. It simply means writing down your initial thoughts in order to figure out the project as a whole. First drafts are mostly the unplanned version of an idea. It can even be fragments of a concept written together to help you move further in your story or project later on. Question number two. Why is the first draft important? First draft is not important, it is very important. If you won't write the first draft of your novel, your thoughts will be scattered all over the place and you'll struggle endlessly to put your ideas together coherently in a sensible form. Eventually, you might be able to get your thoughts organized, but it'll waste a lot of your precious time. A first draft helps you in discovering your characters, plot, story flow, and in building the three main pillars of your project that is, beginning, middle, and ending. The most important thing and the point of writing the first draft is to get the story on paper, to get it out of your mind and into this world. It's like giving birth, unlikable to watch, but necessary altogether. It doesn't have to be perfect because your next drafts will take care of that. All you have to do is write it down. Question number three. What is the purpose of writing a first draft? The main purpose of writing the first draft is simply getting to know what your story really is. And in order to do this, just let go of any fear and qualms you have about your project because the first draft is something that you write for your own self. Don't worry about the complicated things like story structure, sentence development, world building, character development, conflicts, exposition, or other things like that because you will be working on these elements later on, not in the first draft. So, before starting out, be clear about what the first draft really is so that you won't give into the editor inside your head and leave your first draft halfway like many writers do. First drafts are simply the raw form of your story. It's a skeleton in the earliest of stages. Most probably, you'll be working for months on this project after the first draft is done, so you can clean it up later on. Simply get the damn story out in your first draft. It doesn't matter if you're following a sequence or not, or if you're simply writing random scenes. I do this a lot in my first drafts. Or if you're writing the story backward. It does not matter as long as you're getting the ideas of your story on paper. It's totally okay. What really matters is that you write. Remember, most of the time, actually all the time, the first product is miles away from the idea that you initially began with. So, don't waste your time on detailing or organizing your first draft as it might not even make it to the final manuscript. But it is still important for you to write the first draft because that is what will get you to the final manuscript. Now comes the most important question. Question number four. How to write a first draft? There's no specific way of writing the first draft. But to help you get an idea, following are the two ways in which one can write a first draft. First, simple method. I'd recommend this method to beginners and masters. Sit in a comfortable place and use a simple writing software that you are comfortable with and start writing without worrying about anything, especially not about editing or spelling mistakes. Start writing. Just try and focus on your story and forget about everything. If you feel the urge to edit, then simply console yourself by thinking that you will edit it in the next sitting. Continue writing this way, preferably every day, till you've got the entire thing written. That's it. You've just written your first draft. Okay, now second method. That is advanced method, recommended for plotters, fantasy writers, and for those novelists who use specific timelines. First of all, write down the rough outline of your story by using single words or only a few words to make sure you understand what's to come where. Then create an equally rough timeline just so that you have a sense of the timing for whatever events you've planned for the story. Sit in a comfortable place and use a simple writing software, again, that you are comfortable with, and start writing without worrying about anything, especially not about editing or spelling mistakes. Then start writing. Just make sure that you're keeping a tab on your story outline while writing. More new ideas will come to you with the help of each outlining point. This will make you write more and get a better perspective of your story. Continue writing this way, preferably every day, till you've got the entire thing written. That's it. Your first draft is ready. By following this method, you have a more elaborate and a clearer first draft, which will help you while writing your second draft a lot. Please make sure to use a writing software that you're most comfortable to use. Don't get confused or misled into using complicated softwares that you don't know anything about. I use Pages or Word format because they help me think straight and write fast. Also, as I've said before, there's no specific way to write first drafts. You can write first drafts in any way that is totally different to the ones I've just mentioned. It doesn't matter. This is just something I came up with in order to help writers understand first drafts better. So, moving on to the next question. What to expect from first drafts? There's so many things that you can expect from the first drafts, but to list a few: rawness, plot holes, lots of them, rough and incomplete storylines, raw subplot lines, rough timelines, half built characters, imperfect scenes, weak endings, inconsistent exposition, flawed conflicts, loose ends, a lot of them, and last but not the least, tons of ideas. Question number 6. What not to expect from the first drafts? Perfection, adequacy, complete scenes, final story, finished characters, brilliant storyline, magical endings. In short, first draft is the first step of a long staircase. You'll have to be patient, there's no other way. And now comes the most exciting part: what to do after completing the first draft. Rest? Take a break? No. This is where a lot of writers go wrong, at least as far as I know. So, trust me when I say this is the right time to plunge deeper into your story. Make sure that you reread it a couple of times. After doing this, you are ready to organize your story. Move on to the next step of character development and detailed planning. If you want any help, then you can read my articles on story planning, the 3-act structure introduction, and the 3-act structure in detail, and character development, character profile sheets. Links in the description box. And then brace yourself for writing the second draft. Ta-da! I'll be talking about second drafts in my next podcast, so stay tuned. Thanks a lot for listening to this podcast. If you have any queries or want to know more about the topic, then please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below, or you can shoot me an email through the contact page on my website cum blog www.heenaraturp.com. This is author Heena signing off.